Absolute Carnage, Weapon V, Project Venom. Among all events in the Marvel Universe, the Weapon Plus program is one of the most significant happenings, contributing to several major turnouts in the main story. The Weapon Plus program, which began to create super soldiers for World War II, continued for a long period under various supervising leaders and doctors to provide a long list of enhanced beings with enormous power. Weapon X, which was the 10th installment of the program, gave us one of our favorite characters, Wolverine. However, there are many other equally important characters, and today we will be exploring Weapon V. The project dealt with bonding an alien symbiote with injured soldiers to serve a military purpose, but what followed was a catastrophe. A ruthless and vicious Carnage got itself attached with the symbiote as well. So without further delay, let's get into it. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to the channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a whole lot. So thank you, and let's begin. Weapon V, Project Venom explored. The U.S. government launched the Weapon Plus program in 1945 when a civilian advisor, Professor Thornton, found Dr. Nathaniel Essex's secret laboratory in a Nazi prison camp. They began their first research with the goal of creating super troops for World War II, and their first successful effort was Project Rebirth, which gave birth to Captain America. It was then called the Weapon Plus program. As showcased in Wolverine and Captain America, Weapon Plus Volume 1 during the Vietnam War, Nick Fury led the Sim Soldier program in which wounded soldiers were bonded to symbiotes. The initiative went futile as the Sim soldiers went haywire during their tests and attacked friend and foe alike. Following this, S.H.I.E.L.D. shut down the program and Weapon Plus took it over. They used data from the government and military super soldier projects, including Project Rebirth 2.0, Mercury Team, and the Anti-Symbiote Task Force, and began Project Weapon V. Weapon V, going by the Roman numeral, is the 5th installment of the Weapon Plus program and was based on the symbiote obtained from a frozen alien dragon made out of living darkness. Under the pressure of the US government, Nick Fury was forced to create a Sim Soldier as a replacement for Captain America in 1966. After Weapon Plus acquired Fury's failed project research, they rebranded it as Weapon V and learned that the cause of Fury's failure was the symbiote hive mind, which corrupted the Sim Soldier prototypes. They created suits of bioarmor virtually altered to be free of contamination. When Grendel awoke and attacked Manhattan, prompting Carnage to strike the Weapon V headquarters, Carnage by then had become extraordinarily powerful after bonding with a sample of the Grendel symbiotes. He murdered most of the employees, leaving just the Mars team, led by Robert Urquhart, to escape and survive. To exact vengeance, he forcibly made Weapon H fight him, but the leader of Weapon V's research and development went insane and sabotaged their struggle against Carnage, resulting in everyone's death. Weapon V was stopped until the danger of Carnage faded, and then resumed with Dr. Randall Pierce as its new leader. Absolute Carnage, Weapon Plus. Written by Jed MacKay, Absolute Carnage, Weapon Plus gave us a glimpse of what happened in the Weapon V program. Published on November 6, 2019, the story begins with Professor Billy Junger watching over the Weapon V incident footage taken by the Weapon V base. The footage showed a skeletal red and black creature with a white spiral on its forehead and a dragon symbol on its breast, killing and eating many symbiote augmented super soldiers at the Weapon V base. Junger inquires about the remaining Weapon V's Mars team members and is informed that they are MIA. In a flashback, we see Clayton Cortez driving a semi-truck through the forest of Drumheller, thinking about ways to make up to his mother-in-law, Janice, for not being fair to her. As he walks into the log cabin where he has been staying, he's met by several guys in military armor holding Janice captive. When a guy with a deeply scarred face asks Clayton whether he remembers his previous commanding officer, Clayton flashes back to Urquhart's days as the brutal head of Eagle Star PMC. This was in reference to the incident where Clayton fought against his teammates to stop their atrocities on innocent villagers. He morphs into Weapon H, saying that he'll crush them, to which he is told to calm down, or Urquhart will instruct Bob Russell to decapitate Janice. Janice encourages the soldier to go ahead, because Clayton has already cut out her heart by marrying her daughter. Clayton asks Urquhart if all this means that Eagle Star is after him, to which he responds that he is with a new team and wants Clayton to help to kill someone. Clayton declines, demanding to know how Urquhart and his crew members discovered him. Urquhart says that Weapon Plus is constantly keeping an eye on its experiments, activating their symbiote bioarmor and announcing themselves as Weapon V members. Clayton reluctantly agrees and is seen traveling with the soldiers, Mars team's head of research and development, Dr. Andrew Breen, and Janice. On their way, Dr. Andrew Breen explains how after Captain America's disappearance during World War II, the Weapon Plus Super Soldier Initiative was established in opposition to the Soviet Russia's Department X, following which S.H.I.E.L.D. discovered an alien dragon frozen in a glacier made of living darkness in 1965. They codenamed it Grendel and realized that the true threat came not from Earth but from among the stars. Driven by paranoia, S.H.I.E.L.D. created the Sim Soldier program by fusing samples of living abyss taken from the Grendel to a group of injured troops. When this disastrously backfired, the program was shut down and officially proclaimed a failure, with Weapon Plus secretly stealing as many individuals and samples as possible, giving birth to Weapon V. While the US government continued attempts to create symbiote super soldiers like Agent Venom and Mercury Team, Weapon V stood in the shadows, learning from their faults and advances and plundering technology and data. He keeps dropping eye drops in his eyes and states his hypothesis, according to which the symbiote dragon is a member of an evil hive mind run by an extraterrestrial deity who has selected the symbiote augmented serial murderer Carnage as its avatar, was confirmed 7 weeks earlier when Grendel awoke and attacked New York City. Clayton says that he thought Carnage was dead, but Breen responds that just 2 days ago, Carnage, who was bound to a Grendel symbiote offshoot, attacked Weapon V headquarters and killed almost everybody there. He also seems to be able to track other symbiotes, and for an unidentified reason, he is preying on them. When Clayton questions how this is possible, Breen explains that Carnage has made contact with the alien deity and has become a demigod known as the Red Messiah. Urquhart snaps at him to shut up, urging Clayton to disregard Breen's unconventional notions and declares they've arrived. Urquhart explains that they'll draw Carnage into the kill box and take him out with incendiary and sonic weaponry as the Mars team comes out inside a big warehouse. Clayton mockingly asks why Urquhart thinks that they'll fare any better than they did 2 days ago, to which Urquhart says that they now know what they're up against and have Clayton as a hidden weapon, pledging to permanently abandon Clayton and his family if they succeed in killing Carnage. When Clayton asks how they intend to entice Carnage, Urquhart tells Breen to show him the countermeasures he's devised. Breen shows a canister which contained the symbiote augmented cloned brain of a telepath, which could shield the Sim soldier's presence from Carnage. Urquhart then shoots the device, stating that the time has arrived and there is nothing between them and Carnage. The scene then shifts to Cletus Cassidy, who is washing his hands in a gas station after killing everybody. He is singing to himself and soon senses the presence of the Sim soldiers. Meanwhile, in the warehouse's office, Janice initiates a conversation with Dr. Breen, asking if he is a doctor and how she always wanted her daughter to marry a doctor. Breen narrates the story of joining Weapon V and expresses his regret for not being able to work with Grendel, which makes Janice think he is insane. Back at the warehouse, a bus smashes through the wall with all the beheaded passengers. Clayton transforms into the Hulk form and looks for signs of life in the bus. Just as he says that they are all clear, a voice is heard, and we can see Cletus walking out of the toilet, stating that he has a small bladder and prefers going to the toilet before all the fun starts. Clayton, aka Weapon H, informs the team of the presence of Carnage, and they fire RPGs and blow up the bus without considering Weapon H being there. But But all that was useless as Carnage is still alive and emerges from the inferno, pouring black eye drops on his eye. Breen watches the fight in the warehouse from the office and remarks that his theories are correct and Carnage is God of the Everblack's Red Messiah. When Janice asks why he dropped black liquid in his eyes, Breen states that they are drops of the symbiote, enabling him to perceive what the symbiote god sees. Janice is petrified at all of this, but is spared by Breen. The brutal fight continues in the warehouse, with Carnage mocking Weapon H's attempt to cut him. Throughout the fight, Urquhart and his team fire incendiary grenades and other artillery without considering the presence of Weapon H, for which Weapon H received equal damage as Carnage. Breen interrupts, informing Urquhart that Weapon H has fulfilled his purpose and demonstrated that Carnage is in fact the Red Messiah, appointed by the god of the Everblack to usher in the interregnum of blood before the onset of the everlasting age of darkness. As Breen claims that Weapon V is Carnage's sacrifice by right, Carnage emerges from the flames behind him, fully uninjured. He tells Weapon H that Janice is freed and his role is over, to which Urquhart orders Weapon H or else they would kill his wife and children. This made Weapon H question his decision to stand beside Urquhart, and he left, allowing Carnage to do whatever he wanted, who then ripped apart Urquhart's spine, killing him right away. Director Junger glances through the film of Weapon H's duel with Carnage at the Weapon Plus headquarters, remarking that the data presented is remarkable. When asked if they should dispose of the remaining samples of the Grendel symbiote, Junger gives the order to keep them, but in deep stasis, and begin work on replicating Dr. Breen's psychic screening apparatus in hopes that sooner or later Carnage will be stopped, and that in the meantime they would be working on other projects, asking for progress report on Weapon XXX. What makes Weapon V so deadly? Nick Fury's attempt to create sim soldiers using symbiote samples from Grendel did create some vicious and powerful subjects. They failed because the prototypes were corrupted by the symbiote hive mind, for which the Weapon V initiative made the necessary corrections to disconnect the sim soldiers from the symbiote hive mind. With the sim suits, the subjects would possess nearly all similar powers, as we have seen in the case of Venom and Carnage. The operatives could use the symbiote to create fangs, claws, tendrils, spikes, blades, and many other weapons. The bonding also granted the soldiers enhanced strength and reflexes, allowing them to use military weapons effectively. Conclusion: both the Sim Soldier Initiative and the Weapon V program were driven out of fear. The discovery of the gigantic alien dragon questioned the very security of human civilization. The organization which previously wanted to create super soldiers to fight other humans now realized that the real threat is from the world outside. This made the US government goad Nick Fury to begin the Sim Soldier program in hopes of creating soldiers capable of fighting for the planet in case of any alien invasion. Although it failed, it became the early route for various other important events in the Marvel Universe. Although we got to see a version of Carnage in the live-action movie Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, we eagerly wait to watch a movie highlighting Weapon V and the role of Carnage in it. And if you liked our content, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. And in the meantime, have a good one and be safe. Thank you, everyone.